Hi, this is Steve McQuaid with FutureTrackRunning.com, and welcome to another episode of ShoeScience. In this episode, we're going to talk about pronation. Yeah, pretty hot topic in the running community. There's a lot of information out there, some good, some not so good. My goal is to basically dial it in a little bit so you better understand why it's so important for us at FutureTrack as footwear technicians to identify it, and what effects it can have on your exercise program. So we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. It's a good question, and for the answer, I'm going to default to good old Wikipedia on this one. Wikipedia says pronation is an anatomical term that describes rotation of either the forearm or the foot. Now, clearly we're not fitting running shoes for your hands, so we're going to focus on the feet. Specifically in the foot, the rotation occurs at what's called the subtalar joint, and that is this joint right here, that kind of like crescent-shaped joint. It's called subtalar because this is your, or subtalar, this is your talus or talus bone, and that joint is under, subtalar, makes sense. And or the rotation can occur and or there or what's called the talocalcaneal navicular joint. Don't worry about it. All you got to know is it basically deals with your foot underneath the ankle. That's where all the rotation's happening. Pronation of the foot will cause the sole, or the bottom part of the foot, to face more laterally or rotate outward. So the sole faces the outside. We oftentimes simplify by saying you pronate, your arches collapse to the inside like this. But something to note is that pronation is a multi-dimensional movement. Not only are we working in the sagittal plane, this plane, we're also working in the frontal plane, this one, because your arch not only collapses to the inside, but it spreads front to back. And also, as that all happens, it rotates to the outside. So you're in all three planes of motion, frontal, sagittal, transverse, and in order to completely neutralize pronation, you have to address all of those movements. Alright, we obviously spend a lot of time here at the store analyzing people's feet. We also use high-tech cameras to assist us, and the goal is to identify the degree of pronation that each customer has, or doesn't have for that matter. And the reason we spend so much time doing this is because most structural injuries related to running, meaning shins, knees, hips, back, arches, can be directly linked to an overpronated foot. Okay. Why do I say overpronated? Because some pronation's good. You want to allow your arch to flex slightly, collapse maybe a little bit, because that's going to still allow the muscles and the stabilizers of the leg to work. If we completely neutralize it with a really rigid orthotic that's going to lift your arch, basically put you in a cast, you're going to end up with a wet noodle for a foot. You know, real flat arches spread out, lower leg muscles are going to atrophy. We don't want to do that. What we're looking for is to match a shoe that will complement your body's natural mechanics. Alright, so how does overpronation lead to injury? Basically, overpronation affects joint alignment. As that arch collapses to the inside, it's going to cause your lower leg or your shin to rotate inward. If we move up that shin, you reach the knee joint, that's also going to rotate inward, and now it's working in this direction. Your knee is a hinge joint, meant to work front to back like this. If you add these rotational forces, it's not designed to work that way. Eventually it's going to lead to injury. So compromised joint alignment leads to muscle compensation, as well as improper tracking. Now, tracking refers to the way a joint is naturally designed to work. If this is your joint and it's meant to work front to back like this, and you start adding movements that work that way or this way, you're going to get a lot of pain. That's going to lead to soft tissue damage. And muscle compensation, basically, we go back to our knee joint, it's rotated inward. As you land and you're running and it's flexing this way, your quadriceps, or the muscles above the knee, are going to work extra hard to pull it back into alignment. So that puts added stress on on muscles, which again over time will lead to soft tissue damage. Alright, let's take a few minutes to look at the effects overpronation can have on your exercise program. Like we just talked about, overpronation will lead to additional stress on your muscles, your tendons, joints, ligaments, which will eventually lead to injury. Moreover, because of the compromised joint alignment, you're overstressing certain muscles in your body. And because of the additional stress, those muscles require more energy. So now we're involving the cardiovascular system, which is the blood and the air that delivers energy to your muscles, to work extra hard. Got more muscles involved now. This is going to have to pump harder in order to get the blood there. And lastly, your body is designed to work in a certain manner. If it's not aligned properly, it's not going to work as efficiently. So overpronation leads to inefficient running mechanics, which will lead to fatigue more quickly. So why are we at FutureTrack so concerned about identifying pronation? I can really simplify it down to 2 points. 1, we want to do everything in our power to help you avoid injury. And 2, we want to make sure that your exercise experience is as enjoyable as possible. If we can help you reduce fatigue, reduce stress on certain muscles, joints, tendons, ligaments, and keep you injury-free, we'll be happy. That's our main goal, and we hope to accomplish that every time we help a customer. So that does it for this episode of ShoeScience. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have questions or comments, feel free to send an email to mail@futuretrackrunning.com or call the store at 818-991-4786. Look forward to seeing you next time.